Sorry, I never told.
What prompted this young boy to sing a cappella as he belts out the heart-wrenching lyrics of Mariah Carey's "One Sweet Day"? Prepare to be shocked as we look at the unexpected twist behind this cringe-worthy video. Exploring the haunting realm of parent-child conflicts is a subject that has always cast a shadow over our collective consciousness. For dedicated true crime aficionados, it's a narrative we've encountered repeatedly, a turbulent upbringing paving the path towards a criminal future. But what hidden horrors lie within these family dynamics that could propel someone to commit the unimaginable? Stick around, because today, we're delving deep into this chilling mystery. Over 2 decades have passed since the shocking events we're about to delve into. The central figure in this gripping narrative is none other than Loiva Gonzales, a name synonymous not only with breaking the law, but with betraying the sacred bonds of trust and family. Greetings, fellow crime enthusiasts, and welcome to Relo Max Crime. Prepare yourselves as we unveil a haunting case that will once again test your faith in humanity and leave you utterly astounded. On July 10, 2001, the police received a distressing call that would forever alter the course of the Gonzales family's history. Loiva Gonzales was on the line, his voice fraught with panic and despair, explaining that his parents had been shot and he had just chased out intruders. The operator assured him that help was on the way as he sobbed uncontrollably. As the police arrived at the scene, they were met with a horrifying sight: the lifeless bodies of Loiva's mother, father, and sister. A racist message, spray-painted on the walls of their home, seemed to point to a hate crime, bearing the words, "Fuck off Asians." At first glance, it appeared to be a clear-cut case of a racially motivated homicide, or maybe it was a horrible robbery gone wrong. After a few days, Loiva made a tearful television appeal, saying his family was the corner of his world. He even offered the killers a reward of $100,000 for them to come forward on national TV. In one of the most bizarre moments on the whole ordeal, Loiva sang a few lines a cappella of the song "One Sweet Day" while delivering a feigning eulogy at the funeral. But things quickly began to unravel for the young man, as all the evidence were starting to point to none other than Loiva Gonzales. Meanwhile, the police were catching up on reality behind the scenes, and it was far more sinister than they thought. So who exactly was Loiva? The media outlets would call him the baby-faced killer or the family killer. His story started when he was born in the city of Baguio, Philippines, in 1980. Loiva's parents, Teddy Gonzales, a lawyer, and Loiva Claridades, were a devout Catholic couple who had big dreams for their family. Their lives took an unexpected turn in 1990, when the Luzon earthquake destroyed their home and their thriving 40-room hotel, which was later rebuilt from the rubble with Loiva's father's efforts. But in search of a new beginning, the Gonzales family decided to immigrate to Australia, settling in Sydney, New South Wales. Teddy became an immigration lawyer and established his own law firm where his wife, Mary, worked as a secretary, and their son, Loiva, worked part-time while studying law. They purchased a house in North Ryde. Like many parents, Teddy and Loiva had high hopes for their children, especially Loiva. They envisioned a path for him in medicine or law, and this vision weighed heavily on Loiva's shoulders. He apparently had to give up on his dreams of becoming a famous artist. Loiva started his academic journey at Parramatta Marist High School, but struggled to meet the expectations set for him and was often in trouble for his grades. He pursued a degree in medical science at the University of New South Wales, only to withdraw after 2 years of studies. His aspirations to become a doctor faded, and he turned to the study of law at Macquarie University. However, his academic struggle continued, and Loiva found himself at risk of expulsion from his institution. In a desperate bid to conceal his failures, he resorted to falsifying his grades, a decision that would have dire consequences. The family even threatened to disinherit him and withdraw privileges, including his cherished green Ford Festiva, but waited until his academic year was over to do so. It is also known that Loiva's sister Claudine had told on him to her parents about the bad grades. Loiva was also a bedwetter from a young age. His sister would expose him to his entire family, which enraged Loiva. Also, some described him as a pathological liar, while others noted his narcissistic tendencies. Loiva also had a knack for stretching the truth, creating fantastical stories where he cast himself as a successful businessman, a sought-after model, and a talented singer. He even went so far as to create a website, appearing to be managed by someone else, to pay tribute to himself. So one thing is established so far: the young man was trouble from the very beginning. Now, let's take a look at what actually happened. On the evening of July 10, 2001, at around approximately 4:30 p.m., after a tense meeting with his parents at their business office where he also worked part-time, Seth arrived home in a rage after a heated meeting with his parents. Armed with a baseball bat and 2 kitchen knives he had retrieved from their own kitchen, he entered his 18-year-old sister Claudine's room. What followed was a horrifying act of violence. Seth compressed Claudine's neck, attempting to strangle her. He didn't stop there. He struck her head relentlessly with the bat and stabbed her numerous times using the knives. The brutality of the attack led to Claudine's death, a result of neck compression, severe heat injuries, and multiple stab wounds to her abdomen. There's speculation that Seth may have realized that he couldn't simply leave from the house without raising any suspicions, linking him to his sister's tragic murder. Instead, he apparently felt compelled to stage the scene as a home invasion to divert attention from his involvement. At around 5:30 p.m., his mother, Mary Loiva, returned home. When she entered the living room, Seth attacked her with one of the kitchen knives, inflicting a barrage of stab wounds and cuts to her face, neck, chest, and abdomen. The attack was so savage that her windpipe was completely severed. His father became his last victim at around 6:50 p.m. Teddy was met with a ferocious attack as Seth stabbed him multiple times in the neck, chest, back, and abdomen. The wounds were horrific, with one puncturing his lung, another penetrating his heart, and a third partially severing his spinal cord. It was evident that Teddy had fought bravely to defend himself, as he had defensive wounds. Tragically, he couldn't overcome his assailant, who happened to be his own son. Ironically, the murderer, his own flesh and blood, shed crocodile tears to the media, lamenting how he'd never understand the significance behind his name, a promise his father had made for his 21st birthday. Seth then decided to dispose of the murder weapons, discard the blood-soaked clothing he wore during the attacks, and remove the shoes he had on at the time. In a calculated attempt to mislead the authorities, he spray-painted racist graffiti on a wall within the house, hoping to divert suspicion towards a supposed hate crime. Gonzales then continued his evening, as if nothing had occurred. He drove to a friend, Sam Dilio's house, arriving around 8 p.m. He had no idea about the murders, and then they went into the city. They dined at Planet Hollywood and visited a nearby video game arcade. After dropping off his friend, Gonzales returned home. It was then, with audacity beyond comprehension, that he called the police at 11:48 p.m. to report the discovery of the bodies. He told the police that he chased intruders away, but the police found no sign of intruders. He claimed to perform CPR on his sister, but no blood was on his shirt. Suspicion grew even more when he started asking about his large inheritances and a victim payout. He seemed strangely calm despite his family's tragedy. Even during the eulogy, he showed no emotion. Later, he put a deposit on a luxury car, planned to use his inheritance, and pawned his mother's jewelry. He also claimed he had a brain tumor, seeking money from his godmother. In December 2001, the first alibi he had provided, that he waited in his car in the driveway before meeting a friend on the night of the murders. It was effectively disproven. Gonzales then attempted to construct a second alibi, claiming he had taken a taxi and visited a brothel during the time of the murders. However, both the supposed taxi driver and a sex worker discredited this story. Then, there was a breakthrough in the case. Investigators discovered that the paint used to spray the racist graffiti on the walls matched the paint found on his clothing, and a shoebox in his room matched the shoes used in the attack. In the months leading up to the murders in July, Seth Gonzales took a disturbing path. He began researching poisons and toxic plants in February, even contacting suppliers for deadly plant seeds by June. He managed to rush an order for these lethal seeds, receiving them on June 29th. Then, on July 1st, his mother, Mary Gonzales, was hospitalized with severe abdominal pain and diarrhea. Initially, it was thought to be food poisoning, but later it became evident that it was due to plant poisoning. Evidence in the house pointed to Seth's involvement in ordering these deadly seeds and concocting a poisonous solution. That plan of his had failed, but only temporarily. On June 13, 2002, detectives from Strikeforce Tawas arrested Gonzales. He was held in Silverwater Correctional Center and was denied bail. Legal aid was provided for his murder trial, which was held in April and May 2004. It was prosecuted by Mark Tedeschi, where Seth was found guilty of all charges and was sentenced to 3 concurrent life sentences without parole on September 17, 2004. Despite several attempts to prove his innocence, Gonzales's appeal in 2007 was dismissed, and his requests for a special inquiry were denied in 2018 and 2019. He made another attempt in March 2021, but the evidence against him remains strong. Seth Gonzales is now one of the few prisoners serving Australia's most severe penalty. So that concludes this episode of the baby-faced killer saga. Remember that true crime is not just about the darkness, it's about shedding light on the unknown, seeking justice, and honoring the memories of the victims. If you found this investigation as interesting as we did, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this video. And if you have any cases or mysteries you'd like us to explore, please share them in the comments below.